Students, families, friends, faculty, and staff, thank you for coming to this celebration. I'm Marcus Shantz. I'm the president at Conrad Grebel University College, and I'm honored to welcome all of you to Grebel's 2019 Convocation ceremony. What are we doing here today? As you all know, Conrad Grebel is affiliated with the University of Waterloo, and all of our students are University of Waterloo students. Our Master of Theological Studies students will have their degrees conferred in part today. Everyone else will officially receive their degrees at university convocations later on in the year. We encourage you all to come to attend your university convocations on main campus when it comes. It's a good time to mark your accomplishments. This campus is situated on lands purchased from Mennonite farmers who began settling in this region over 200 years ago. But there were people here before that. These lands are the territory of the Anishinaabe, Attawandaron, and Haudenosaunee peoples. We're situated on the Haldimand Tract, lands promised to the Six Nations by the British Crown in 1784. We acknowledge this at all key college events. We say these words to remember that we're implicated in the history of these lands, and also to remind us to continue working on building new and equitable relationships with our Indigenous neighbors. So even though there's a university convocation happening later on in the year, we planned this smaller celebration in April because you're still here. And we want to congratulate you and we want to say goodbye, whether or not you've even finished your assignments and exams for the term. Although this ceremony will have its solemn moments, one of the main purposes of our convocation is to express joy. And everyone is welcome to do that. So within reason, feel free to laugh, to cheer, and to sing. And if you have young children with you, please don't be embarrassed or anxious if they make noise, joyful or otherwise. Everyone is welcome to be here at this celebration. Another purpose of the convocation is to say thank you. Graduation is an individual accomplishment, and each of you ought to be proud of it. But all of you have depended on others to get here. Let me name some of them. There are your parents, your family, and your friends. There are Grebel faculty, your teachers and mentors. There are Grebel staff who have been incredibly important in your time here, cooks and custodians and student services staff and department staff and librarians and others behind the scenes. And then there are people that you've perhaps never seen or even thought about much, but in their own way are part of the life of this college and help to make it possible. Board members and representatives from Mennonite Church Eastern Canada, and alumni and donors to scholarships and bursaries. Students, would you join me in thanking these people? And now I'd like to thank you students on behalf of everyone at Grebel. Whether you're a master's student in peace and conflict studies or theology, or whether you're an undergraduate who's come through an academic program, or whether you've been part of our residence, thank you. All of us here are impressed by you and the community that you've created here at Grebel these past few years. We're impressed by your academic accomplishments, by how you've supported each other, welcomed each other, by the various ways you've expressed faith, created community, and made room for differences. Thanks for being such an inspiring group of students. In a few moments, each of you will cross this floor and say a few words about your plans for the future. We do this every year, and it's always interesting. Some students set out a very clear plan, and you get the sense that they're on an expressway into the future. With others, it's not as clear-cut. It might sound more like they're on a back road outside the car, looking at a map spread out on the hood. With apologies to Tom Cochran, life is not always a highway. Life can and will disrupt your plans with unexpected events. Things that will pull you off the highway and away from your plans and onto narrower paths. The Canadian poet Bronwyn Wallace once wrote some advice about traveling on back roads. This is from her poem, Into the Midst of It. You'll take a map, of course, and keep it open in front of you on the dashboard, though it won't help. Oh, it'll give mileages, boundary lines, names, that sort of thing, but there are places yet where names are powerless. And what you are entering is like the silence words get lost in after they've been spoken. It's the same with the highways, the terse, comforting numbers, and the signs that anyone can read. They won't be any good to you now. And it's not that kind of confidence that you're after anyway. What you're after are the narrower, unpaved roads that have become the country they travel over. Dreamlike as the spare farms you catch in the corner of your eye, only to lose them when you turn your head. The curves that happen without warning, like a change of heart. As if after all these journeys, the road were still feeling its way through. You who have lived your whole life believing that if you made enough plans, you wouldn't need to be afraid. Driving through a countryside only the road seems to care about. To rediscover every time it enters that kind of love that's partly tenderness and partly a sort of confidence that you can't put words around. For what it's worth, here's my advice. Explore the back roads, metaphorically and literally. Don't assume that you're lost. Maybe you're supposed to be there. Good things can happen on back roads, on the narrow roads. That's where you'll find confidence and trust and love. The back roads could be where you discover how to offer your best to a world that needs you, where you find your calling, your vocation, and your home. Wherever your paths lead you, we're glad they brought you to Grebel for the past few years. We're here to say goodbye and to wish you God's blessing for the road ahead. Welcome to Convocation 2019. guest speaker today is from Mennonite Economic Development Associates, or MEDA. And Grebel and MEDA have had a long connection, and our students have become involved in MEDA in various ways. And one of those students is Jonathan Smith. So I've asked Jonathan to introduce Dr. Nami.
afternoon, friends. It is my pleasure to introduce our Convocation speaker, Dr. Dorothy Nami. She serves as the CEO and president of the Mennonite Economic Development Associates, which she began in that role in 2018. But her background is extensive, including over 20 years of international development experience in policy and programming. And she began her career as a medical doctor before moving into the field of international development. She has conducted this wide-ranging work in places like Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Eastern Europe, Latin America, the Caribbean, and here in North America. She is a dual citizen of Canada and Cameroon. At Conrad Grebel, we are invested in the intersection of many areas of work, from computer science to peacemaking to business. It's not surprising then that we would have strong ties with MEDA. Students here amongst you convocating today have participated in annual MEDA conventions, where they bring new ideas and learn about the effort to solve poverty with business solutions. We've come around organizing events, we've implemented ideas that we've had, and we've learned an intense amount about what goes on in the world and what we can do in our own small part to make it better. The mission of MEDA is one that resonates with our purpose here at the university as students, and it's one that we can carry forward with us into our next endeavors. Without the inspiration and assistance of leaders like Dr. Nyambi, we would not be here today. We've already thanked those who are sharing their wisdom and teaching through the last many years that we've been here, and now we're grateful to hear her words on behalf of that community. We are inspired by Dr. Nyambi, and we are grateful for her sharing with us this afternoon. Join me in welcoming her.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan, for this very warm welcome. And I'm extremely honored, to be here with all of you today. When Marcus approached me a few months ago to say, they would like me to talk on this really important day, in the lives of so many of you, I think I took a step back and I said, oh my, what am I going to be able to say that the students don't already know, the graduates don't already know? Is there anything that I have that I can share, that will make a difference? So I gave it a lot of thought, and here I am today. So again, I just want to thank and offer my sincere congratulations to every single one of you, as you prepare to graduate. And this is a really significant moment in your lives. I hope, first of all, that you feel very proud of what you've been able to accomplish, because you've all worked very hard to get here. I would like to applaud all the parents and families, who Marcus mentioned earlier, the faculty, the support staff of this beautiful college, along with all of you graduates. It has taken a community and support to get you all where you are here today. In the time that you've spent at Conrad Grebel, you've all been challenged. You've increased your knowledge and made lasting friendships. Today, we should definitely take a moment to consider what's going to happen next. It definitely can be a very daunting moment, and I have no doubt it might be for some of you, it might not be for others. But when we don't know what the future holds, sometimes we begin to question ourselves. I came to Canada with my family as an immigrant in my 30s. I won't tell you how old I am today. I had completed my medical training and had been practicing as a physician in many developing countries. And at a certain point, I began to feel a little bit helpless and a little bit more restless because of the things I could not change as a medical doctor or as a physician practicing in these developing countries. It was at that point that, I began to question all the years of my studies and motivation to save lives. Was I going to be able to make any difference or so? Every day in front of me, I could see many patients, men, women, children. We could save many, but there were many we could not save. And this was beyond the control of me and my colleagues, working in the medical space. With the future unknown, I finally mustered the courage to take a leap into the unknown, choosing to look at change as an opportunity and not as a mountain. I completely made a shift, in my careers and started my transition into international development, as Jonathan mentioned. And this allowed me to be able to go what I considered as going back upstream in my career and be in a place where I hoped, and I still hope today, I'm able to help to change and prevent people from falling downstream into the place where nobody can help them, especially in these developing countries. My path has been extremely winding, and as a small girl, growing up in Cameroon, Africa, where I was born, I never dreamed where my journey would take me. I would never have placed myself at Grebel on April 14th, 2019, but here I am. I come from a line of hardworking women, beginning with my maternal grandmother, who, despite being widowed at a very early age and not literate, she believed in the power of education for her 3 daughters, my mother and my 2 uncles. And out of the meager farming that she did and a little bit of trade, she was able to, with dignity, get an education for her girls, and that's how she got them out of poverty. When she did this, she did it not just by herself, but it was with the support of others. As I grew up, what really amazed me the most about my grandmother was how many other people called her mother in the community. And for me, she laid the foundation of what today I call, and what I feel is very important, I call community. That is just something about my past that will come again later on in this talk. But I want to encourage you that as you graduate today, I want you to feel encouraged about the future. The future is bright, The future is usually what we say is just an untapped opportunity. I encourage you to see change and the unknown as a unique opportunity for you to change the world around you. As new graduates, you are leaving your Conrad Grebel community. This has the potential to be a very stressful time. There's been a lot of support, you've had a lot of impact, there's been a lot of people working with you. Make connections that matter as you leave Conrad Grebel today. Form a community that inspires knowledge, leadership, creativity, generosity, and responsible citizenship. But please take note, the community you create is not meant to serve just you and your needs. The community needs the skills, the knowledge, and the compassion that has been instilled in you from your time at Grebel and throughout your life that make you who you are. You have learned, and now it is time to pass it on. In the coming months, I want to encourage you to be intentional about how you form community. Wherever you end up next, choosing to nurture community is different than networking for career growth. Community is who you celebrate with when things are great, and who you go to when things are hard. Community lifts you up, and they catch you when you fall. So back to my grandmother, she created a lot of community back then for she and her daughters. And it is that community that I continue to benefit from, and that I continue to grow. And I encourage you to build community. I graduated from university back in the 80s, a long time ago. And things have changed a lot since then. Today, graduates, young people are faced with many internal pressures to succeed and to perform immediately. I want you to know that everyone is going to progress not at the same pace, and that is going to be okay. The analogy I like to give about the journey towards success is the butterfly. We all admire butterflies when we see them, spring is coming. And what we forget is that, for a butterfly to get to the beautiful stage that we admire it goes through a life cycle. And for some species of butterflies, that could be 1 month of those 4 stages. For other species of butterflies, it almost takes even a year. So just to be mindful of the fact that, whilst we look at success, and it's going to be different for each and every one of you, remember that that pathway is also going to be different. Take the time to consider what values you want to inform your choices. Attending Conrad Grebel, most of you have taken courses in peace and conflict. No matter where you find yourself, or no matter where you work, or what you end up doing, remember to be an advocate and work for peace in that workplace. I want to encourage you to live with purpose. What would it look like for you if you were to make choices that go beyond your technical knowledge? So different people are graduating in music, in theology, in peace studies, so you're coming into the world with a high level of technical expertise. But I'm asking you to look beyond that technical knowledge. Perhaps you will be compelled to choose a path to give back to others. We have always been told, and we've all heard this, it's more blessed to give than to receive. And it might sound very strange, but the truth is always the person who receives gets something that has been given to them. But the person who gives gets the bigger thing, which is a bigger blessing. And your heart has to expand when you are the person who is out there giving. Find a cause, or maybe be open to a cause to find you. Don't be afraid to start small, but believe in yourselves as you go out there. If you're a fan of the NBA, I know many Canadians do watch hockey, but I also do watch basketball. So if any of you are fans of the NBA, I would like to talk about giving back by quoting Dwayne Wade. So my children are here, they'll tell you that I'm not a big fan of basketball either. But sometimes, certain people say things that are really meaningful. And the quote I want to give is from Dwayne Wade's mother. And some of you might have seen it already online. She said to her son, as he was quitting basketball, and he's a super basketball player, has all the technical expertise, I am more proud of the man you have become than the basketball player. You are bigger than basketball. We can all find in our lives and find a way that we can become that rainbow in someone else's cloud, no matter what we do. Coming from an African family, we really have extended families. It is a whole village, it is a community, it is usually beyond blood relationships. It is about your neighbor, it is about the neighbor of the neighbor's neighbor. It is, there's no end to the line where community ends and everything. So we normally say it takes a village to raise a child. And as a child, I grew up, knowing that if I were to do something wrong, before I got home, my neighbors, if they saw me, my parents would already know. So it was community to the point where, everybody was community. So community was an extremely important factor. When you are intentional to make career choices based on your personal values, rather than the values that our society advertises, you will all find fulfillment in the work that you do. So celebrating all of you's convocation today, I hope you can take away the following 3 things. First, don't be afraid in terms of what you do not know. Choose to see change at any time as an opportunity. I want to just give you another quick African proverb in terms of, the way we speak, where I come from. We like to say things and then allow people to interpret the meaning for themselves. And this famous African proverb says, when a challenge knocks on your door, you say there is no seat for him or her to get in. But he or she tells you not to worry because they brought their own stool. So there's going to be trouble, there's going to be challenges along the way. Some of it is going to bring its own stool to come into the house. You just have to be ready. So don't be afraid. Second, you need to seek out new friends, and foster and root yourself in community wherever you end up being. Community is extremely important, and I cannot overemphasize that one of the most vital ways we sustain ourselves is by building community of resistance, places where we know we are not alone. And third, make a choice about what value you will live your lives by. Ultimately, living with purpose and intentionally is what will give you the greatest satisfaction in life. You can only become truly accomplished at something that you love. Pursue the things you love doing and do them so well that people can't take their eyes off you. If you organize your life around your passion, you can turn your passion into your story and turn your story into something bigger than you and something that really matters. Conrad Grebel's mission is to seek wisdom, nurture faith, and pursue justice and peace in the service of the church and society. Your time at Grebel might have come to an end, but I encourage each and every one of you to continue to seeking wisdom, nurturing faith, and pursuing justice and peace in your life. In my personal journey, I continue to learn and also to unlearn. When I understood and comprehended the power of community and living with a purpose, more than just that, when I internalized it and I ingested it and became very courageous, I dared to do the things that were good things to do, but that I knew were the important things I needed to do for our future. I believe that if God loves me, if God made everything from the leaves, from the seals, to the baobab trees, then why should I be afraid? I would like to leave you all graduates with one quote from Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. Thank you and congratulations.
Dorothy, thank you for your wise words and inspiring us to live with a purpose and to take root in the community. Good afternoon. I am Troy Osborne, and as Dean of Conrad Grebel University College, it is my honor and privilege to present to you the undergraduate students who will be receiving University of Waterloo degrees in June or October of this year. So we are honoring them today because they are completing academic programs offered at Conrad Grebel University College, or they have made Grebel their home community for a significant part of their time at the University of Waterloo. There's a little bit of the already but not yet of our celebration today. As we celebrate their accomplishments, we acknowledge that they still have exams, final projects, and theses to complete. So once that academic work is completed and assessed, they will receive their University of Waterloo degrees. So today is a celebration of hopeful expectation. Students, during your time here, the Grebel community has come to know and value your ideas, your talents, your hopes, and your dreams. When you cross this stage to be congratulated by President Marcus Shantz, to be recognized by the head of the Grebel academic unit in which you studied, and to receive a commemorative gift, know that all of us at the college are present in these gestures. The gifts will be presented to all undergraduate students by Student Services Director Mary Brubaker-Zare, and to graduate students by administrative staff Seth Ratzlaff for MPACs and Becca Smoot-Enns for the MTS students. So let us begin by honoring the undergraduates who will receive their University of Waterloo bachelor's degrees at one of the convocation ceremonies in June or October. They are from all of the faculties of the university: arts, applied health sciences, engineering, environment, mathematics, or science. Many of these students were part of the Grebel residential community while studying at the university, whether living at Grebel or associating with the community. Some of the students we honor today were in University of Waterloo undergraduate programs based at Grebel: music, peace and conflict studies, and Mennonite studies. All of you have enriched our life at Grebel, and we thank you. So very soon here, I will ask the first row of students to stand and make your way to the stage. I will call you each by name, and you will move to the microphone to tell us very briefly about your future plans. Then cross the stage to be congratulated by the president, and if you are in music or PACs, be congratulated by Laura Gray or Raina Neufeld. Then you will receive your gift. Then please go to the stairs on my left and wait in the wings for the rest of your row to join you. Will you please rise and join us now? So to the audience, as they make their way up, I'm going to invite you to join me in enthusiastic applause after all the students have been acknowledged and received their gifts. In other words, please hold your applause if you can.
I will be working as a software developer in Toronto.
Katie Benz.
Hi everyone, I'll be working in KW and continuing with my podcast and
Michael Timothy F. Bourne.
After I graduate, I'm going to Thailand and Nepal, followed by a summer in KW and Silver Lake, and then going to Burning Man in August.
Victoria Lynn Boris.
my aspirations are to work with the Waterloo Regional Police Service.
Amanda Botts.
I will be traveling around Europe for a few weeks, working for the summer, and then going back to school for accelerated nursing.
Jackson Brown.
This summer I'm going to be working in Hamilton and taking the LSAT.
Nathan Bush.
This summer I will be working around KW.
Candace Huster.
I'm going to go to Korea and teach English and then go to do a master's, hopefully.
Chelsea Campbell.
I'm going to be working at a farm and then going to camp, and then come September it's going to be a surprise for all of us.
Sarah Campbell.
I'm just going to be continuing my video business, marketing videos for weddings.
Miranda Chacoin.
Working in administration and enjoying my summer.
Ryan Dunham.
I will continue looking for work in Barber region.
Andrew Dyke.
Where will you be in 5 years, Andrew? Marcus, perhaps on a back road.
Jesse Esquick.
I plan to continue to pursue my profession of track and field.
Jennifer Farlow.
I will be starting Teachers College at Western and then hopefully becoming a physics teacher.
Jesse Friesen.
I'll be working as an engineer once I find a job.
Luke Rose.
I'll be saving money, getting married, and maybe continuing my studies.
Hannah James.
I'll be taking a year off and starting my master's in the fall of 2020.
Noah Jansen.
I hope to take the summer off and then pursue a master's in quantum computing in the fall.
Linnea Brubaker Kaethler.
I'm planning on taking a year off and then pursuing a master's in neuroscience research.
Lydia Kim.
I'll be off at the University of Toronto pursuing my master's for music technology and digital media.
Kieran Clausen.
I came into Grebel as a fresh-faced 18-year-old without a clue of what I wanted to do, and now, tens of thousands of dollars later, I have even less direction somehow. But hey, here's to a continued journey of searching for passion, fulfillment, and self-discovery.
Stephanie Kraft.
In the fall, I will be starting a Bachelor of Social Work.
All right, you can move back to your seats, and I invite the next group of undergraduate students to make their way to the stage. Kromm.
I will be working on software development in Kitchener and continuing to work on our residence app, Skybunk.
Alexandra Langweider.
I'm going to be working with bison and wolves in Saskatchewan for the summer.
Andrea Linky Dreacher.
I'll be working with Ontario Parks and planning a wedding.
David Lucadelis.
This summer I'll be finishing up my CS degree and working on my app which connects people who want to purchase property together. So if that's interesting to you, talk to me after.
Sebastian Malton.
I will be traveling in Europe and then working in software in Kitchener.
Chantal Martel.
I'm going on vacation in Ecuador with my best friend.
Daniel Martin.
In May, I'm going to find myself on the highway east to pursue studies at Teachers College at Queen's University. But during my breaks, I hope to find myself on lots of back roads, maybe with Andrew.
Veronica Mikolayevsky.
I'll be headed to the University of Toronto in the fall to study a Master of Information.
Megan Moore.
After one more term of school, I'll be seeking work as a lab technician.
Tessa Plakida.
I will be following the advice of a very wise man in my life and just wing it.
Karen Rashish.
I'm currently applying for a Master's of Library Studies and Information Sciences.
Kimberly Rempel.
I hope to pursue pastoral ministry eventually.
Rebecca Rossi.
I'm going to be taking another couple classes in the summer and then looking for a job.
Alex Rudy.
I'll be attending the University of Toronto next year to specialize in structural engineering to get my master's.
Emily Savoy.
I'm going to work and save, travel, and then go to Teachers College.
Daniel Sherman.
I'll be pursuing my master's in agricultural economics and international development. Maybe work for Dorothy today.
Annika Sears Stryker.
In September, I'll be starting my Master's of Rhetoric and Communication Design.
Devin Scollin.
Hi. I start work in 2 weeks, and I'm really excited because we get a lot of free tickets. So.
Jonathan Smith.
I'll be continuing research in artificial intelligence in Toronto, and then hopefully taking that back home to Southeast Asia.
Sage Straight.
I'll be studying for my LSATs over the summer and then moving to Genoa, Italy to au pair and avoid being an adult for the year.
Zachary Strike.
Be traveling for the summer and then starting my master's in September.
Chelsea Vandermeer.
All right, so 3 things. I'll be traveling Asia for a month with my friend, and then I will start work in downtown Toronto as a team lead for a software company, and then I'll maybe stop wearing black on black.
Andrew Welsh.
I will be adventuring through Europe with my brother and then returning to KW in June to be totally hip at IntelliJoin certified.
Nicholas Werschler.
In the fall, I'll be kicking off a master's in applied sciences in biomedical or stem cell bioengineering at the University of British Columbia or Calgary. And this summer, I'm going to try to pay rent in Vancouver.
Mark White.
I'll be looking for work across North America in the artisanal gelato industry.
Nathan Weed Neufeld.
I'll be finishing up my studies over the summer, after which I have no particular plans.
Tyrone Winfield.
I will attend the University of Western Ontario to pursue a Bachelor of Education in a primary junior stream.
Isaac Winterfeld.
I'm going backpacking in Thailand and Nepal.
Sarah Wright.
I'll be going on vacation in Arizona with my family, then coming back, hopefully starting work and planning a wedding.
Sonia Zeta.
In the fall, I'll be pursuing a Master's of Information at the University of Toronto.
So I invite the second group of students to move back to their seats. And I invite all the undergraduates to stand and face the audience. Would everyone please join me in offering these students our warmest congratulations.
And you can have a seat. Every year, the undergraduate graduating class, along with the administrative executive of the college, selects a student to be the valedictorian. I'm pleased to announce that the student chosen this year is Angela Kromm. been a vibrant part of the Grebel community since 2014. And despite the demands of a nanotechnology degree, she managed to enrich community life term after term after term. She has been a warm and friendly presence, taking the time to embrace every new cohort of student coming into the college. She served as a Dawn, as an orientation leader, acted and performed in 3 Grebel musicals, held numerous student council positions, and was engaged with META. If she wasn't in a formal role, she came out to events and supported those doing the work. She spearheaded a team of students just recently who created a new app called Skybunk. And she organized all-night hackathons, always with the goal of somehow improving the college. She's been one of the college's go-to persons for tech support too, and I'm not sure what we're going to do without you, Angela. But perhaps most importantly, you have been a role model, Angela. You have consistently lived into the mission of the college, seeking not just knowledge, but wisdom, taking time to nurture your faith and that of others, and holding the pursuit of science and technology with that of peace and justice. So congratulations, Angela. Come and address your graduating class.
For that kind introduction, and thank you as well to everyone for coming in support of our graduating class. To the friends and family who have traveled from far, to our beloved staff and faculty members, to our fellow Grebelites who made the trek all the way to the middle of campus. We thank you for choosing to be here today with us, to laugh with us, to cry with us, and celebrate with us as we begin this new chapter of our lives. And to my fellow graduates, congratulations. It has been said that every one of us is a fiddler on the roof, trying to scratch out a pleasant, simple tune without breaking their neck. Over the past 4 or 5 or more years, I think many of us have come to understand this in our own unique way. Balance is one of the hardest lessons to learn, and we've certainly had many opportunities to practice. We've had to balance staying up late to cram in an assignment with getting up for those early classes the next day. We've balanced doing too much or too little of the assigned readings, over-practicing and improvising, putting ourselves out there and playing it safe. We balanced school coming first with 30-minute study breaks because someone found a bouncy ball in their backpack. And on top of it all, we've had to balance between making new friends and keeping up with old ones. The idea of balance sounds so simple and scientific. Too much or too little on one side of the scale, and it'll fall. But the thing about life is it's not really a simple scale. There's more than 2 sides to fill, and it's always not a this or that decision. And even keeping the analogy doesn't warn you of the dangers of filling both of the sides of your scale too much with more than you can handle. So instead, I think I've come to learn that balancing life is more like walking a tightrope. Sometimes the rope is sturdy and strong, you know where you are and where you're going. But sometimes a wobble or an unexpected gust of wind can cause you to lose your balance. Sometimes your rope is high above the ground and you must be extremely careful not to fall. But sometimes you feel confident to take more risks knowing a soft landing is below. Sometimes you can carry a friend along the way, and sometimes you need a friend to help carry you. Sometimes you nail an exam, essay, or performance, and sometimes you've got to figure out how to pick yourself up after failing. Sometimes you apply for a leadership role and are gifted the responsibility, but sometimes you're not. Sometimes you spend all night out dancing with your friends, and sometimes you just go to bed. Sometimes you're the center of attention in a room, and sometimes you can just sit quietly in the background. Over the past years here at Grebel and UW, we've all grown so much from the little first-year students who first stepped foot in the Grebel buildings. So many times I look at my friends who are just now finishing their first year and think to myself, there's no way we were that young and fresh when we started. But then I remember all the tens of thousands of hours spent in lectures, tutorials, labs, working on group projects, writing essays, practicing music, applying for co-ops, and somehow trying to maintain sanity through it all, and I think, dang, we look pretty good. These past years have been filled with many learnings, academic and otherwise. I'm sure many of us have learned the importance of not leaving things to the last minute. One of my favorite musicals contained the quote, "Pile up enough tomorrows and you're left with nothing but a lot of empty yesterdays." In our time here, we've had almost 2,000 yesterdays, and they've been anything but empty. We've had so many wonderful memories to look back on, and even the painful ones will quickly fade into stories before we know it. But as we spend time reflecting, remember that there is still so much wonderful future to also look forward to. My mother always says, the only constant in life is change, and I hated hearing this growing up, and I hate the thought of it still being true. But it is true. And if anyone is going to graduate knowing how to handle change, it'll be us Waterloo grads. Although we are not all enrolled in EW's co-op program, alternating between school and work every 4 or 8 months, we all know people who are, and the constant change is stressful for even the best of us. Hopefully, we will all be able to settle into something for slightly longer than 4 or 8 months once we graduate, but we know no matter where we are, there will always be unexpected and expected changes waiting right around the corner. This term at Grebel, over 100 students in the residence program put together a production of Disney's Beauty and the Beast, and I was honored to be a part of this production and was struck in particular with how well one of the songs hit home with my feelings on graduation. However, since I am not one of the many talented music majors, I am just going to read it to you. There's been a change in me, a kind of moving on, though what I used to be, I still depend upon. For now I realize that good can come from bad. That may not make me wise, but oh, it makes me glad. And I never thought I'd leave behind my childhood dreams, but I don't mind. I'm where and who I'm meant to be. No change of heart, a change in me. So fellow graduates of Conrad Grebel University College, as we prepare to leave this place, I hope we all take a small piece of Grebel with us wherever we go next. It's been a privilege to learn together, grow together, and make memories together. As life goes on, I hope we all continue to strive for balance. I hope we make every today worth remembering. And most of all, I hope we all find the courage and grace and community we need to embrace the changes which are to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. At this point, I would like you to turn to page 25 in your program. We are going to be singing a song that was commissioned for me, or commissioned, Conrad Grebel commissioned me to write this song. And when they commissioned me to write this song, the first thing I thought about was that I wanted everyone to be able to sing this together, meaning that there are parts that you can learn right away, there are parts that you have to take some time to learn, and then there's a part that actually is a hymn that a lot of you might already know that can be layered on top of one another. So if you look at this page, there are 3 parts. Part 1, I sometimes call the foot. We're going to learn that in just a moment. Part 2 is a canon or a round that I wrote with students and faculty and staff because the text was taken from a poetry jam that we did. And then I wrote the music to go with that. That'll be sung by the chamber choir. Although if some of you students want to join in that, if you remember it, then you can also join in that as well. And the final part is the hymn. So I want us to first learn this part 1, the foot, because everyone will sing that at one point or another, and then I will explain to you how we are going to make this song into the 3 layers and sing it all together. Okay, so let's start by learning the foot. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3. Sing. Heard it once, now you can join in and sing it all together. We're going to sing it 2 times through right now. It just keeps going. So when we go to end, we always end back on sing. Okay, just so you get that. But let's try this 2 times and we'll end back with the sing. So 1, 2, 3. Sing. My colleague Kate to come down and help we are going to split all of you in two. Okay, so you can choose those in the middle, or you can choose which side you want to go on. So Kate is going to lead everyone on this side, and you guys are going to be really the foundation of everything. So you are going to be singing this part 1, the foot, over and over and over again. Okay? So you get to do that. I'll bring you in a moment. On this side, you guys are going to be following me. So at first, we're going to go in canon, because this foot can also be in canon. So at first, we're going to do that and sing that in canon. We're going to keep doing this over and over again. At that point, the choir is going to start singing the round. So that'll be later on top. We just keep singing it, but you can maybe, you can sing really quietly if you want to really hear that on top. And then, for you guys, so when I have number 1 here, that means that we're doing the foot. Okay, that means that we're doing part 1, the foot. Once the choir gets going for a while and that round is going, I'm going to stop you and we are going to sing the hymn. So all of you on this side are going to sing the hymn. We have the piano on this side who will help us with that. Okay, so we'll do the hymn, we'll do 2 verses of the hymn, that'll stop. Okay, so I'll put, when we go to the hymn, just so you know, I'll put 3 fingers up. And the hymn is at the very bottom here on your page, so we'll move to that. So in some ways, our job is a little more complicated. Once we're done those 2, we'll stop and we'll join them. The choir will still be singing the round, by the way, at this point. Okay, so the choir will still be singing the round. We'll then join back in with 1. So all you guys have to remember is we're singing part 1, the foot. We keep singing that. When I indicate 3, we sing the hymn. That ends, we go back to the round. Or to the foot. Part 1, the foot. Oh, let me get confused. Okay, part 1, the foot. And then we keep singing that until the round is done, and then I'll come back here and bring everyone to a close. And we end on sing. Back to the beginning. Okay? Although actually, we might still be in a round, so in that case, just end where you are. Okay, but I'll make a big gesture and just hold the note that you're on, and it'll be a beautiful chorus. Okay, are you ready? Ready? Okay, so let's bring the first part of the foot in. Can we get that? Okay, ready? So, 1, 2,
We will next honor those students who will receive the degree of Master of Peace and Conflict Studies from the University of Waterloo in June or October. And they are wearing master's gowns to recognize their graduate accomplishments. So I would now like to ask the Master of Peace and Conflict Studies students to stand and move toward the stage. Again, I will call you each by name, and you will come to the microphone to tell us briefly about your future plans, and then move across the stage to be congratulated. As they come up, with the MTS students, please file into the end of the aisle and have a seat down there. Daniels.
Currently I'm working at a bank, so if you guys don't pay your taxes, we will come after you. And then after that, I plan to go to Belize in the fall and hang out with the indigenous peoples there.
Leanna Beverly Feltham.
I plan to find a job in my field.
Kelsey Gallagher.
I'm moving to publish research on civilian harm and the Canadian Forces.
Catherine Garacho.
Currently, I'm looking for a job, but as of 2020, I plan to go to law school, so I'll be working on my LSAT. That's going to be tough, but it's got to be done.
Jacob Andrew Gador.
I'll be continuing to be working full-time up in Elmira, where I did my internship for my degree.
Boone Koo.
I continue to work with international students at the University of Waterloo.
Laurel Spring O'Gorman.
I will continue to work in restorative justice with youth and adults and teach yoga at the Women's Federal Prison in Kitchener. And now I will have a little more time to spend with my family and friends.
Kanisha Mensa.
Today I declare that I am going to be a trailblazer in my own right, and I look forward to see how God lights up my path.
Rizwan.
I'm excited for graduating, and I'm going to launch Peace Source Center in Pakistan.
Jamal Rohani.
Well, I'll be taking some time off and then deciding what to do next.
Tanvir Hussain Tirana.
I'm planning to join the counseling. I will achieving somewhere around here in this area.
Laura Volpe de Cavarro Ferreira.
I will continue to work with restorative justice and community engagement.
Graduates, I invite you to take your seats, and as they come down, will you please, MTS students, join us on the stage. MPAC students, stay standing and face the audience, please. Will you please join me in heartily congratulating the MPAC class? Thank you. You may be seated. Students in the Master of Theological Studies program receive a conjoined degree from Conrad Grebel University College and the University of Waterloo. Today, we provisionally confer the degree with the authority granted to this college. And we will symbolize this action by having Jeremy Bergen, director of the program, hood the graduates. The University of Waterloo will soon confirm the completion of all degree requirements and will award the degree and present the diploma at the appropriate convocation ceremony in either June or October. President Schatz, I am pleased to present these candidates to you for the degree of Master of Theological Studies. They have been approved for graduation by the Board of Governors of Conrad Grebel University College, pending the completion of all requirements in their program of studies.
By virtue of the authority granted to me by the Board of Governors of Conrad Grebel University College and the Province of Ontario, and pending completion of all program requirements, I hereby bestow upon you the degree of Master of Theological Studies with all the privileges and responsibilities of that degree.
Sarah Burgess.
I will continue to volunteer as team lead at Slate Church and continue to use the research skills that I fell in love with during this program to research a book idea and look for full-time work.
Samantha Coelho.
I look forward to pursuing a career which allows me to integrate my faith and passion for justice in the social services field.
Peter Kyung-Young Kim.
I plan to pursue a career in medicine where I can combine my passion for science and ministering others.
Peter Cranenberg.
This summer I'm completing my supervised experience in ministry, and then in September I have no clue, because after a master's degree I still don't know how to plan ahead for things.
Joshua Luke Kuhnen.
You'd think a school with German and Dutch students would have a higher microphone.
Bruno Siqueira Paito.
So in fall, I'm going to pursue a master's degree in law at the University of Toronto, and I will be a father of my third girl in June 26. So a lot of diapers and book and diapers.
Shauna Lynn Sheffield.
I'll be finishing classes in the summer and then looking for a job at a charity.
Rachel Wallace.
Immediate future, I plan to read novels and take naps. And after that, I am going to be pursuing pastoral ministry.
MTS graduates, I invite you to please return to your seats and remain standing. Turn and face the audience as you come back. Would everyone please join me in congratulating the Master of Theological Studies class.
You may be seated.
Grebel's graduate valedictorian is chosen from among the Master of Peace and Conflict Studies and the Master of Theological Studies graduates in alternating years. I am pleased to introduce this year's valedictorian, MTS graduate Rachel Wallace. Rachel's undergraduate degree in arts is from Wilfrid Laurier University with majors in English and Global Studies. She is married to James, and they have 2 sons, Hayden and Ezra. Rachel lives in and loves Hamilton, where she enjoys family board games, hiking, gardening, and music making. During her 2 years in this MTS program, she completed supervised ministry placements at the 541 Eatery and Exchange, a downtown community organization, and at Hamilton Mennonite Church. Rachel's contributions to our learning community over these past 2 years have been significant. A critical thinker, she consistently asked astute questions and in class discussions pushed for the integration of complex ideas with practical concerns. And she's been a regular around the MTS lunch tables in the dining room. She has shown her passion for community, for church in diverse forms, for justice, and most basically, for people. Rachel, we look forward to your address.
Oh, man, there's a lot of feels. I got a little one up there, and my dad gave me a standing ovation, so no emotions getting in the way at all. Thank you so much for the music, for all of you who have been here. I'm mostly speaking to those of you in the front row who I can't even see, so just the rest of you get to listen, but this is mostly a conversation between us. A year and a half ago, in September of 2017, I stood in the foyer of the Conrad Grebel Academic Building chatting awkwardly with other new MPACs and MTS students as we waited for our orientation day activities to begin. That feels like a long time ago, although when I write a year and a half, it doesn't sound like a long time ago. The learning pilgrimage that we have taken alongside one another has been rich and transformative, and I am so grateful that I have this opportunity to reflect on our time together as master's students at Conrad Grebel. One of our fellow MTS students, Sandy Conrad, had this to say this past week on our cohort's Facebook group, and I just wanted to share her words with you because they're fitting. To my cohort of graduates, and we'll include MPAC's graduates in that, she says, our first day faces are so clearly etched in my memory. Rachel, that's me, Peter Kim, the second, and I, or this is Sandy's voice right now, walked over to main campus for Introduction to Grad Studies. We had a noisy lunch and met around a big seminar table. We created button art in the Great Hall. Gradually, your faces became familiar and wonderful to me. One by one, around so many tables of Conrad Grebel, we learned, grappled with hard concepts, argued and consented. We lamented our workload and cheered each other on, and we laughed a lot. Sandy says as she listened to your sermons and final papers, she felt as though she was seeing you in new ways. God's power and love are shining through you. You are amazing human beings, and we've been blessed to have each other's company for the past 2 years. She ended saying, your wings are showing, dear cohort. May God bless your pilgrim journey. I could just end there. But I love when things that are unexpected and unplanned show connections. Sandy didn't know when she said, may God bless your pilgrim journey, that I had written a speech on pilgrimage. And so that was just a delightful little thing. And then the choir spoke on a road home. And so it's all getting tied up together. Well, those of us graduating are the ones who have been the pilgrims on this journey, attending classes, so much reading, completing assignments, participating in internships and ministry experiences, soaking up the richness of our learning communities. There are many who have been with us in various ways along the journey. They have been acknowledged in other speeches so far, but I'm going to add my acknowledgement to that, highlighting those who have played important roles and without whom we wouldn't have reached this particular convocation destination. So, you're pilgrims, or you have been, and we're going to think in pilgrim terms. Pilgrims need sustenance. When I've heard people who have been on pilgrimage talk about it, one of the most important highlights they talk about is their meals. At the end of the day, pilgrims gather around a table where they are nourished, invited to try new or different foods, and have the opportunity to unpack, the events of their day's journey. Like a good meal after a day of long trudging, our weekly classes have been prepared with such care and attention by amazing faculty. They have been the meals that have nourished us. Professors, we cannot thank you enough for the ways you have set the table, provided much to chew on, given us a safe place to experience new things. You have fed us, encouraged us, challenged and nurtured us, and I have been constantly floored by the ways Grebel faculty have gone so far to express their care and concern for us as students, and have truly gone above and beyond in so many ways. We cannot thank you enough. Pilgrims benefit from tour guides, and we've had a few of those on our journey as well. Our dedicated administrative support staff have been pointing the way throughout our time together. Currently, Becca and Seth, and there have been others in that role previously, thank you so much for all of the ways you have supported and informed us through newsletters and email reminders. I am terrible at prioritizing administrative tasks and cannot fathom getting through things like course registration or coordinating paying for fees or applying to graduate without the kind email reminders from Becca. And I'm sure that MPACs have experienced that from Seth. We are thankful also for the kind and knowledgeable librarians who know us by name and have helped us find resources, patiently found reserved materials even when we didn't provide them the call number, but said things, I'm looking for that course reserve book from Derek's class on Psalms. It has a blue spine. And yet every time they'd say, you need to give us the call letter, and we'll still find you the book. There are doubtless other things that contribute to a pilgrim's experience that he or she may not be able to specifically identify as noteworthy, but are still essential. And I imagine, I haven't been yet, maybe someday, but I imagine that famous pilgrimage routes have stretches where there are people or organizations assigned to maintain the trails. I imagine there's rest stops with bathrooms, and that those essentials are probably not the things that you talk about when you get home, but they were essential. And here at Grebel, there are many people who have been part of the broader framework. People we might not have directly engaged with in finance or administration, maintaining buildings or organizing scholarships that so many of us have benefited from. If you go into the Grebel Academic Building and you look at that wall of photos heading down the hall to the offices, you will see many faces. And I would hazard a guess that in some way, each of those people have contributed to your program in some way. You should consider them and thank them. I'm going to mix metaphors here a little bit, from pilgrimage to mountain climbing. But the final group of people we've got to acknowledge are our Sherpas, the family members, spouses, and friends who have come alongside us. They weren't the ones who opted to take this journey, but they've come along, often carrying many of the heavy, mundane necessities of life so that we could be fully immersed in this learning experience. Thank you, Sherpas, for the ways you have freed us to focus on our study, taking care of practical things while we had our head in the books, been a sounding board while we have wrestled through new or difficult concepts, and supported us when we were stressed or overwhelmed by workloads and deadlines. Those of us receiving diplomas today are not the only ones who have worked hard to reach this point, and we could not have done it without you. Graduates, can I push you to acknowledge the gifts of the many that have helped us get here? You've done a lot of writing in the past few years. Might I suggest a stack of thank you cards to formally acknowledge the many who have been part of this journey? I'm sure it would be less than 5,000 words, but potentially more valuable for both you writing and those receiving. As I've reflected for this speech on Grebel and thought about the intersection of peace and conflict studies and theology, the concept of shalom is one that I keep returning to. Shalom is a Hebrew word which encompasses peace, harmony, well-being, wholeness, completeness, prosperity, tranquility. And my Grebel experience, and I hope yours as well, has encompassed many of these qualities. The pursuit of peace is obvious as a starting point, named in Peace and Conflict Studies, and as well as a primary tenet of Mennonite theology. But beyond the integration of this concept of peace into the conceptual frameworks, I have experienced shalom in the diversity of people and ideas that are accepted and celebrated here at Grebel, in coming together harmoniously in classrooms and around dining tables. I have experienced shalom as staff, students, and faculty gathered together for delicious and nourishing fresh-baked bread, singing grace and harmony at community dinners. And right here, thank you for that, I've looked at that song on the wall when I've heated up my lunch so many times and wondered, what does that actually sound like? So now I know, and it's beautiful. I've experienced shalom as I've sat quietly in the atrium, reading a book on a dark night, gazing out at snow falling. I've experienced shalom as students and faculty have expressed genuine care and concern for me as a person. A few weeks ago, after our last preaching class, I observed that nobody wanted to leave. We all lingered there, wearing our coats and backpacks, looking ready to go, but wanting to bask in the rich shalom of good conversations with dear friends. When you've experienced shalom, you don't really want it to end. But here we are, at an end. As I reflect on my time at Grebel, it has planted within me an imagination and desire to participate as best as I can in cultivating shalom in whatever I move on to next. And as you step out into whatever is next for you, I hope that you too would remember the spirit of shalom that we've experienced here and cultivate it in the places that you find yourself. Convocation marks the end of this specific pilgrimage, this leg of the journey. Our roads will fork here in multiple directions. If you're anything like me, at this point, you feel very aware that you've learned a lot, and there's a lot yet to learn. Peter Cranenberg reflected last week at the end of a presentation that while he learned a lot about his research topic, it was similar to the MTS program as a whole. He didn't have it all figured out. He said there's a lot more to read, there's a lot more mistakes to be made, there's a lot more questions to ask, and there's a lot more to do. Keep asking the questions, keep learning, keep growing. I'm going to leave you today with a combined blessing from two of our theology student cohorts. They're not here today. One who graduated last year, Kathy Elliott, and one who will graduate next year, Sandy. Here's what they have to say. I'm putting both of their words together. Enjoy the fruits of your labors. The value of this degree is the safe and effective use of self in theological and peace and justice pursuits in academic and everyday life. Be bold. Find ways to simply share what you've gleaned, including community formation. You are loved, and we are so proud of your achievements. Your wings are showing, dear cohort. May God bless you on your pilgrim journey.
Let us join our hearts in prayer. Holy and faithful God, Jesus, our mighty Savior and gracious friend, Holy Spirit, breath of creation and fragrance of love, we praise your name, one in three and three in one. Thank you for the beauty of this day. Thank you for the work of our students, for their lives shared, their wisdom acquired, their commitments made. Bless them with those things that make life good, friendship and purpose, kindness and joy, contentment, food, shelter, and a grateful heart. With thanksgiving, we pray a blessing on all their friends and family, on all faculty and staff. May their love return magnified by compassion. May their work return in the beauty of wisdom. Holy Guide, help us assert the victory of your love against cruelty and injustice. Help us turn the privilege of learning into joy for doing good. Keep us alert to the needs of your earth and its people, so that we might abandon ourselves to the work of your peace. Bless all who have been part of these years we have made together. Bless us all in the closing of this day. May we find rest and warmth in friends and family. Keep us joined now and always in our hearts and prayers. Through the work and in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please rise as you are able to sing on page 26, God Who's Giving.
Class of 2019, congratulations again and best wishes from all of us as you move on to what's next. Please stay in touch with us as alumni. You can expect that we'll try to stay in touch with you. A few instructions for what's happening next. There will be a formal recessional out of the auditorium in a few moments. Students and faculty, once the recession has happened, please wait for official pictures that will be taken here on the stage. Clear instructions about photos will be shouted at you. Please obey. If you're a guest and you can't resist, you can take photos from the side, but please leave room, ample room for our official photographers. For everyone else, please clear this hall after the recessional. We have a reception back at Grebel planned. It's about an 8-minute walk. If you didn't walk right here, there are pathways to get there, and people should be able to point you on your way. I'll lead the way back to the college, and students and faculty will join us once they've finished with photos. Thanks again for joining us today. This concludes our ceremony.
Thank you.